I know Ray is a nurse. Ray, do you do anything on the side of being a nurse or being in the medical field? She can't hear me. We can't hear you. You're
You
Oh,
on
that's
muted.
a
mute.
good thing.
You're on mute.
That's a good thing.
You on mute. You gotta unmute yourself, Ray.
I think she got to do it from her phone. Okay, I'll ask Naomi and Ann.
Well, look at God.
They ain't made no
Look at
contribution to your Wi-Fi.
look
today.
at look at God. Won't he
Naomi
do
and
it?
Ann.
Yes. Yes, DJ?
My question is, are you guys? Do you guys? What do you guys think of women being in the workforce? Well, an entrepreneur versus the workforce as a value, and as we speak today in 2025.
Yeah. Me personally, I think entrepreneurship, or at least building a legacy and being able to stay with your children and have the privilege to go to work for your family and not for someone else is a high privilege. I've seen lots. I think women can be ambitious and women can achieve their goals, but it doesn't have to be strictly in a corporate environment. And I think a lot of women outsource motherhood because they focus on their careers. Because we do get pregnant and we're seen as a liability. A lot of women put off motherhood because of it. So arguably, I would say entrepreneurship, or at least building something that would sustain the family beyond you and provide some form of service for your community is ideal. Staying home and being able to work when you want to is the goal, especially if you have a husband. That's my opinion. Like, the girls leaving the corporate world and working your 9 to 5s, use all the skill sets that you learned there and bring it to your community and build your community. That's how I see it.
Okay. Yeah.
So as far as so I've been in the corporate world. I used to work for the state when I worked for TWC in Texas. Um, and even now I work in the medical field. I did that as a way to pay for my school. And then on the side of that, I have another job. And so I can kind of agree with what Anne was saying, but right now I have other things in place for a business, you know. So as far as entrepreneurship, I think to be honest, I love the freedom that it gives. I love the freedom that it gives. I also really love the fact that, you get to choose your money, and present yourself. Um, it's the keeping up with it that makes it difficult, to be honest, because when I was doing it, and I think it depends on the ages of your kids. My kids are older now, they're teenagers. So now I'm getting back into doing that. And when I was first doing it, um, my kids were much younger. They couldn't travel as much. And we were catching flights in different places and spaces. I could financially afford it, but it was difficult because they were much younger. Now they're teenagers. They don't really care. So I think it depends on the age of the kid and then on what exactly the business that you're building. Because like the example that the men were giving, if we all live in the same community and we're all braiding hair or we're all doing lashes, we're not going to make any money, because then what ends up happening is somebody's going to be lower and cheaper. It's going to actually do more harm to wherever you're living. So it depends on what you're actually, what your business is, how much the need is for it, and then how good at it you are. That's why I would suggest that if you are going to have your own entrepreneurship business, perfect it while you have your 9 to 5, so that when you do end up being able to take that step out, you'll already be above everyone else and not just barely getting it.
Mhm.
If that makes sense.
Yeah, no, 100%. I like that for both of you. I agree. I would never. I because I was a mother, I wouldn't never on my kids, oh, I'm gonna go just be an entrepreneur, right? Like that was
Oh,
nothing I ever said to myself.
really?
Definitely not. I even got pushed into business. I would have never. My best friend made me go get an EIN number. She made me start branding my company to where I started DJing for presidents in the first 2 years of DJing.
Why
So
were you so
I,
hesitant?
I was improper. I would not leave.
Why?
I like working. Like that's me naturally. I
Was
love
it the risk of entrepreneurship
it.
and
Just
being a mom?
wasn't for me. I like security. I like
Yeah.
to feel safe, and for me, it was that. So once I started realizing, okay, I'm actually good at this. Okay, perfect. This is happening every Tuesday at this time. If I can, let's just throw a number. If I can bring home $500 working 2 hours every Tuesday, that's like, wait, 2, 4, 6, 8 hours a month for $2,000. You're kidding, right? I'm working this 8 to 5, dropping off at daycare, dropping off at school, stressing out, telling me to take a break, doing this for you telling me $17, $18 an hour. And I'm literally doing this, but that still wasn't enough for me at all. Because, like Naomi said, if you're not good at something or if you're not researching, and like you said, ladies, shout out to you girls in corporate America, but you get those skills and use it, right? So, and all my experience of sales and service, basically, I took that into my business. But it took me 2 years of working residencies, even three residencies. I was bringing $7,000 to $10,000 more, and I still that was not enough for me mentally to leave my job. Because you know why? So I didn't answer JR's question, but Black women lose. Now I'm gonna tell you why. Job stability is a must when you're talking about having credit lines, business, and things like that. That's a huge part of your credit profile is stability.
Mm.
So while you guys are trying to just quit your jobs and go become entrepreneurs, you still got to pay taxes. You can get in tax trouble if you don't have an accountant. Then a lot of people, I'm not going to say last checks. Let me not be like that. But a lot of people are not paying taxes. They're getting bammed up. A lot of people do not know how to monetize and how to correctly handle a business, like everyone said before. So these Black women are leaving these jobs, but then here they are stuck and they can't do anything in a city. Let's take my city. I can only speak for my city. They're stuck paying rent because they can't buy a house because they don't have a what?
So,
W-2.
Right.
is
They
it
don't
fair
have
to
savings because it's a hot girl world. So girls typically want to make money. They want to make money to go get their lashes and their weaves done and travel and they spend all their money. They don't have no one has savings accounts. So I'm just saying, Black girls lose to me. That's
I'm gonna put this out there. Is it fair to say Black women are the backbone of the economy?
Especially in the Black community.
No. Who made that up?
I don't know. That's what I heard.
Wait, what was the question? What'd you say?
I had a statement. I just want to get you guys. Is it fair to say Black women are the backbone of the economy?
No, they just spend the most money.
They put us in debt, if anything else.
The most money, though.
Yeah.
No, I mean, again, so you want me to support? You want me to give you a statistic or something? Because I'm not going to make an assertion that I can't post a study to.
Yeah, because I mean, if they're losing jobs, like they held key jobs in government, losing them hit the whole country, not just them. So, is it fair to say Black women are the backbone of the economy?
Oh, well, I mean, before Willie goes, from a spending for interest rates for companies making that interest money, yeah. But in terms of the economy, in terms of like saving or economical growth between an individual or their family, whatever, no, most women, not just so-called Black women, most women put anybody in debt. But corporations love so-called Black women because y'all build up the most interest rates. So yeah, they love y'all for that standpoint, they might be the backbone for the spending part of the economy, but in terms of like how much debt we go in, they're the worst. So it depends on how you look on it.
Okay, so Black households spend around $835 billion a year. That's larger than the gross domestic product of I think that's like, that would put us in 15th place as far as country size go. If Black women were a country, or Black households were a country, we'd have the 15th largest GDP of all countries on earth. Of that $835 million, Black women spend 80% of it. So they're the number one consumers in America while making the least amount of money. So on average, a Black household spends between 25 and 51, between, I think it said 21 and 55, $45 to $51,000 a year. If the 80% holds true, that means 25 to 40% of that shit has been spent by Black women in the household. Now you have to give them credit because they're spending the stuff that, a lot of Black women have children. So a lot of the things they consume will be for their child. But that's still not the majority of the money that they spend. So even if you take that away, Black women are spending more money by a landslide. So I can't say that they're the backbone of the, of our economy or the Black economy, but they are the biggest piece on this consumer side, hands down.
Right, which is, yeah, exactly. Well, Gerald, when you say backbone, are you trying to phrase that question as, like, are Black women, or so-called Black women, the backbone of the economy on a positive scale, or are you saying just in general? Because it depends on how you look on it.
We can't hear you.
So he's having a conversation.
I was talking to my son. I heard what you said. You asked for clarification about the backbone.
Yeah, like, are you saying from a positive perspective, or are you just saying in general, are they the backbone of the economy in sense of like their power or their economic?
Yeah, I was just talking about
footprint?
in general. So if they're losing jobs, leaving them, getting forced out, whatever the case may be, is it fair to say that they are the backbone? Meaning that if you agree that they are the backbone, then how would that affect the economy for you?
Well, the spending is going to go down if a lot of so-called Black women don't have jobs. But on the flip side to that, it could force some of those women to realize that they never really had any skin in the game anyway, and the government really used them in the workforce, because traditionally so-called Black women would help their husbands or their family members start their own businesses, and then the community would thrive in that sense, right? But over the last 50 years, it was more so, go get a job in corporate America, and they hired them in abundance, to make a point. And then in the flip side, the government went ahead and says, well, we're going to cut all these government jobs, which most of them held, and now they're asked out. So the government used them up, spit them out, and then now they're forced to figure out what they need to do. So I agree with being married, but some of these women are too old to go get married. Um, some of them were close to retirement when they got let go. So I don't know what they're going to do. But just to answer your question, they're the backbone in terms of like the government making an interest off of them. So they were being used the entire time.
Hey, I need to do a correction. I just gave 2019 stats. 2025 is $1.98 trillion. That means that Black women spending money, their spending would make us the 11th largest country in the world as far as GDP goes. And Black women lead all races apparently on spending in beauty, personal care, hair care, wellness, and soft luxury goods.
I was just about to bring up the materialism aspect.
Didn't I just tell y'all they don't got no money?
We already knew that. We already knew that.
I mean, it came up at $1.98 trillion somewhere.
Yeah, they spending
it. They go in debt, brother. That's what I was saying. Like they take most women, so-called Black women, use their credit cards. They take out loans.
Minority, like they spend.
Yeah,
well, we're talking about so-called Black women because that was the topic. They take out. I've seen women take out loans. I've seen it personally. Take out loans to buy weave.
That's crazy.
I've seen that with my own eyes.
So straight like that. Hold on, straight like that. You gonna put your girlfriend out in the streets like that? Is that what you're gonna do to your old lady? You did. That's some nasty work.
My old lady got locks. She got her natural hair.
How you got an
Okay,
old
she
lady
turned
and
them
you
in
picking
locks.
them up off the street? I'm lost.
Damn.